Hello, this is Neil, the art instructor at masterpaintnow.com, and I'm going to be showing you how to draw a manga face. Just going to let this focus in for a second. This would be the end result. Will end up something like this here. All right, let's go ahead and get started then. We'll be using a pencil. This here is a clutch pencil. You can go to my website, masterpaintnow.com. If you want to go ahead and get one of these, you'll see a little square link there on the homepage that takes you to an art site that has all different art equipment you want to buy. And this would be called a protruding pencil, I believe, is what they call it. Right, so let's get started then. So first thing I want to do is start with a like a circle, right? And when you draw your circle, make sure that you use your whole arm. It's easier to draw circles with your whole arm. Now, for whatever reason, you're having a hard time seeing these lines. Two things you want to do. One, make sure you go to full screen. Two, at the bottom there's some little icons. One of the icons, when you click on it, you'll see different numbers like 320, 240, etc. Click 720 or higher, and that will make it to where you can see these lines nice and sharp. And if you're in full screen, you should be able to see even the faint lines very easily. Next, we're going to cut it in half vertically. We're also going to cut it in half horizontally. Now, what differs here with this kind of face and a manga or like a regular face construction manga face, the eyes are bigger, and so you have much more space on the top of the head than you do on the bottom of the head. The eyes don't sit exactly in the center of the head construction. The jaw is going to be much shorter. Draw another line here, cutting this in thirds. So if you imagine this is in thirds like that, this is where your eyes are going to fit on this center line here. Imagine they're going to be pretty wide, so you want them still to be about an eyeball apart. For now, we're just going to draw kind of big, sort of squarish ovals, kind of a rounded out square, basically. Take a square and kind of round out the edges. That's what I like to start with, at least something like that kind of shape. And don't worry, the end result will look like what I showed you. This is the exact same structure construction I used. Make sure you have even sides of the face over here. The nose is going to sit on that third line here, and it's just going to be a little triangle like this with a little bit of shadow because we're going to have the shadow. The light is going to be coming from the right hand side and a little bit above, kind of like that. Right? Okay, so next part is how to figure out the mouth. So what I like to do is just put in the mouth as a oval, knowing that whatever kind of mouth I do, that's the kind of area it's going to take up. Next, you just have the chin, which would be a dot or a point beneath the about a mouth length down. So another third length down, you want to make that. And so now the length you have out here is about like this. And notice that top length is a little bit longer. So if you were to take that length, that's the basic length you'd have for the head here. Unfortunately, I can't find my kneaded eraser. You can also get the kneaded eraser from the websites, the art websites I have linked on my homepage there. All your art equipment that you need. Pens and markers and coloring markers, all that good stuff. Colored pencils like Prismacolor and all that. The next thing you want to do is when you draw the face coming down, you want to make sure that the face isn't coming down like straight. You want it to come down at an angle, and it's to come out at an angle all the way down to the mouth, and it's to come kind of thin as well. So imagine like the middle part of the line coming down. That's about where of the eye coming down. You want your face to come like this. So like that. So it's going to come up to a lot larger of a head than you have face at the bottom. And then you want to curve in like this. And you can kind of round that out if you want to. A lot of manga actually keeps it pretty sharp edged. So it's up to you whether you want to round it out. But that's the basic face construction. You can see it does differ a little bit from your typical face that you would have like in a comic book character. They stick to more realistic. You can also do little lines all the way across the underside of the eyes here. And this is like if you want to show like embarrassment or something like that, that's something that's popular to do. And then after you have your thing sketched in, take your kneaded eraser or whatever eraser you're using. I'm using just my mechanical eraser, and the erasers that come in are quite soft, and I just have it extended out really far so that acts kind of like a kneaded eraser. It just really lightly erases. Just to get rid of a lot of this construction lines now. Okay. I would typically blow it away, but I don't want to be blowing in on the microphone. Next is the ears. The ears kind of usually fit a little bit lower than the eyes. It just depends on what manga you're looking at. And they usually have kind of an angle to them. And this kind of gives more of that kiddish look, but it looks kind of cool. And everything's simplified. So the whole reason why you simplify your artwork when you're doing manga or any type of, because manga is basically Japanese comic books, right? The reason why you simplify it is because if you're trying to draw very quickly and you're trying to draw a bunch of frames on a piece of paper, yeah, this is only 11 by 8 piece of paper. You typically work on like 11 by 14 piece of paper, somewhere around there. And you have to break it down and have all your squares, and you have to, fill all those in with with drawings very quickly. And often a lot of them are very tiny, so it's hard to get all the details in there. So, and same thing with cartoons as well, and an anime, which would be the equivalent of a cartoon. That is, it's an animated cartoon. Um, so manga is equivalent to comic books, and anime is equivalent to cartoons. And so when you would draw, like a bunch of frames, you're drawing like thousands of frames. You need to simplify it somehow. So if you were to try to draw like some realistic thing, imagine drawing that same realistic thing over and over and over again. It'd take you so much time to draw a comic book. If you simplify it, simplify the eyes, simplify the mouth, where you can draw it very quickly in some simplified way, then you can get through your drawings much quicker. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to draw on the eyes. The eyes, I think, are the most expressive part in manga, and that's the part they focus on the most. The eyes tell a lot of emotion, and maybe that's why they do that. So let's go ahead and add eyes in here. So the basic manga eye that I'm going to go with here has a top eyelash but no bottom eyelash at all. And so first we'll start with this kind of thick top eyelash. And we'll give her some emotion that will match the lines we just added in there. Oftentimes the eyelashes will come right off to the edge of the page there, to the edge of her head rather, not the edge of the page. All right, so start off with lines about like so. And then what we're going to do is and this is extending outside the actual eye. The eye part is going to be huge, and it's going to come down like this. We're going to do this bigger style. There's all different kinds of style of manga, and this is just one style that we're doing here. Where you have this top eyelid, and then you have the eye itself kind of come like this. And I'm leaving that bottom line purposely, kind of oval that out more. I'm leaving it purposely loose because I'm going to be erasing it anyway. Because we're going to be adding in like kind of like tears, so it kind of looks like almost like an embarrassed type of tears. Not all manga will do this, but some manga will actually have lines come up here. That being the eyelid lines where your eyelid will retract into. And then we're just going to make this whole thing here, quite thick. So let's add thickness here first. Then go back in and decide if I want to add any sort of. Right, so this is showing a lot of eye makeup. And then sometimes, it depends how detailed the drawing is, it might have a couple eyelashes, just depending on, again, how big the picture is, how much space it takes up on the paper. This is taking up quite a bit of space on paper, so I can get more detail with it. That way you guys can see what I'm doing. Next, the eyes basically will be shaded from top to bottom, but I like to add in where, if the shadow is coming from the right-hand side, I like to add in first the biggest highlight here, then maybe a smaller highlight over here, and maybe one down there, but we'll add tears down there so it doesn't matter. Then you still add your pupil in like you normally would, but they're more oval. They're not quite as round. And I'm going to draw around the highlights that I want inside the eyes. If I was doing this on a computer, I'd do it a little bit differently. Then you start from the top and kind of shade down, and it gets lighter as it gets towards the bottom here. And I'm not going to shade, obviously, where the highlights are. I'm going to leave the highlights there. And sometimes even a style might have a little bit of highlight coming into the pupils, even like this, where you have just a little bit of that bottom part. You can use I used to have one, I don't know what I did with it, but a battery operated eraser, and it makes it really easy to erase and get more detail with your eraser. Next is the eyebrows. The eyebrows we're going to have kind of coming like this and just be thin and small. And to kind of pinch the top up like this and come down. This kind of shows an expression of like almost embarrassment. I think that's the kind of, we're going to kind of go for that, like, shocked and embarrassed at the same time. I could make these lines here a little bit more prominent and more sharp by holding my pencil up at a bigger angle here, and I can pull these lines all the way across here. And again, this is typically done to show embarrassment going all the way across the face like that. The next thing we can do then is we can add in the shadow, and sometimes you'll only have this problem of nodes, just so you know. I'm going to add some erase. I'm going to try to erase here. It's going to be kind of difficult to do with. It's much easier to do in Manga Studio, honestly, than it is with pencil. And so the reason I wanted to make this video, though, is I'm about to come out with a manga course. I'm going to start working on a crash course for manga. And I'm just wondering if you guys think, I'm going to use my mechanical pencil for this. It's a little more detail. And that's why I have my mechanical pencil here. And I have a soft lead in here. So this is what's cool about different mechanical pencils you can buy on that site. So just go to my homepage and check out that art site. What's cool about it is they have what you can't, find this like at Walmart and stuff, is different. Oh, sorry, I got a little trying to focus on what I'm drawing at the same time as talking, but you get different softnesses of your lead for your mechanical pencil. This is a very soft lead. I think it's a 6B, but it's for my mechanical pencil. Like if you go to Walmart, it's going to be all 2B. So right now, and anyway, I would actually erase that more if I could and make it lighter. But maybe if we add a shade to the face, it'll all come together. Next is the mouth, and again, I'm kind of skimping out a lot of details here because I can't get too detailed. I know this is sort of a little bit of a large drawing, but I can, if I use my mechanical pencil for the whole thing, I could have got a little bit more detailed. Let's go ahead and reinforce the lines now. And when you draw, you want to make sure you draw steady. Like you don't want to draw like, let me draw over here for a second. You don't want to do this. I call that sketching because see how like sloppy the line looks? When you're sketching, it's still going to be where, for example, let's go ahead and start sketching her hair in here. You're still going to pull in lines, and the lines are still, they might be loose like this, but they're going to be loose and fast, and sketchy, but they're controlled. So, sketch just means you're pulling fast lines, you're getting the idea down quickly. It doesn't mean that you're drawing sloppily. So I just want to clarify that. Because some people will think that's what it means sketching is to do this like weird sketch, like chicken scratch type stuff. That's not what you want to do. We'll draw some shadow underneath her chin here. What's really cool about these pencils too is that you can like quickly like make side of it flat with the eraser, not eraser, with the sandpaper, sorry. And then you can come in and have this kind of flat edge, and you can easily come in and shade stuff very quickly, like cover big areas. Like let's say we'll cover all of her hair real fast here, just to where we know the hair is going to be, and kind of shade it all one color, all one tone. So you see how fast you can cover a lot of ground with the flat edge of the pencil like that. I'm going to kind of pull some, that's a little far out, but right now we'll go back in and we'll fortify some of these lines. And again, when you fortify lines or strengthen them, make them darker, the goal, I'm going to add a little thin line like this, and this will be the shaded part here. Just to show that the face is shaded on that side. The point of fortifying the lines and make them darker is just that they stand out more than other lines. And when you do so, just make sure that you're pulling your lines with confidence, because you want to have nice looking lines. And this is especially helpful, if you want to start inking. I'm just going to kind of pull a few. And notice I'm pulling each line with confidence. I'm not, being, sketchy about it in the sense of chicken scratch. What some people would consider sketching, but it's not. You want to like really get away from that habit, and you'll notice your drawing stuff will look a lot better. Now that's the highlight, and typically, you wouldn't have a dark line like that for the highlight. I would have came in with like electronic eraser and came in and erased it with that to make it look nice and sharp. But you can have the dark line there anyway for the highlight. It still looks kind of cool. And what I would probably do is shade in, a darker shade. So I make this side flat again. I would do a darker shade over here, and then kind of make it get lighter as it comes to this side since the light is coming from the right. I'm gonna have like everything on the left be a little bit darker. And again, this is all, personal preference on how you choose to shade your manga because every manga is different and you don't have to shade it the same. Right, so that's that. So we can see it's starting to come together. And next I'm going to add the mouth. So the mouth, we can make it very simple. All different kinds of mouths we can do. I'm going to kind of do, the other one I did different mouth. If you notice with this one, I almost did it like you're kind of viewing it from the side. Um, this kind of mouth here, add some character to it. This one here, we're giving her a whole different kind of motion. So I'm going to make her mouth kind of just like an oval like this. This is a typical shape you'll see in a lot of manga. Then you'll just see like the little bit of the teeth. And then they usually have a darker shadow right here on each side to show like you're kind of almost like you're seeing like inside the mouth, you're seeing part of the tongue or something. And then this will have a lighter tone like so. And then the teeth, of course, will be darker. And there you have it. So then we come in here and we can add some drop shadows for the hair. And this is where you push a little bit harder with your pencil. And this is right where the hair is touching the face. And so you'd have it much darker. I'm going to kind of shade over I had a little bit of a shadow right here as well. You can also have like a little bit of a drop shadow all the way for the hair coming down. This being like giving some volume to the hair. And then I like to go in and make each strand kind of have its own lighter shadow to just kind of give each strand its own kind of three-dimensional depth. And if I had a strand here, for example, that came like this, and it came over here somewhere like so, I would also shade part of that. We can also add a little shadow to this side of her body more than the other side. I would just kind of do this all over little strands of hair here and there to add some volume to certain parts. And you can really make it as simple or as complex as you want. It's all a matter of, how much time do you want to spend on it. If it's a really, like I said, close-up looking um, drawing like this, like you're really trying to show the motion, you might add more detail to it. Especially if it was like a cover page or something, or like once in a while you'll have like an insert page inside your comic book where you'll be covering a lot more area, or rather you'll like do one image, take up the whole page pretty much, in which case you can have a face, or just show a lot of the part of the face and eyes like in a rectangle like this right here, rectangle panel like that. But let's say that panel's like taking up a lot of the page, and then it would just have like the eyes, like in here like this, and eyes would be really expressive. And you can even have a slightly larger one showing part of the mouth or nose or whatever. Or you can have a whole head being shown really big, so you can add a lot of details to it. But everything else, you do much more shorthand type of stuff where you don't have nearly as much detail. You can also switch and use more than one pencil. Use your clutch pencil for some stuff, and then come in with your mechanical pencil to get more details on certain things. I didn't mean to make that mark there. All right, so where are we at now? We're at 18 minutes, so that's pretty good, I think. We'll call that good. Hopefully you guys learned something from this video. One thing you'll notice that I try to do differently than a lot of other instructors out there on YouTube and elsewhere is I try to actually, teach a lot of quality stuff rather than just, doing a quick 5-minute video that doesn't teach much. I like to go into more detail and like let's actually learn more stuff in our video. But hey, if you would like just quick 5-minute videos where pretty much all it would be like, it's like, here's the head, here's the line, here's the eyes go, here's the mouth goes. Okay, at the end, we're only 3 minutes to 5 minutes into the video or something, and they're like, hey, tune in for another video and we'll show you how to draw eyes and plug them in. If you enjoy that and think that'd be better, I can make those videos. So just let me know. All right, cool. Thanks for watching. Again, visit the website masterpaintnow.com. The link's in the description. And if you enjoy this video, I think your friends might too. So go ahead and click on the share button there, and you can share on Facebook, whatever. And I'd really appreciate that. And I think your friends might appreciate it too. Thanks for watching. Oh, and let me know in the comments. Please leave a comment. What would you like to see next? Do you want to do like manga bodies? Do you want to do just focus on different types of manga eyes, or maybe different types of manga head, maybe different type of manga hairstyles? What would you like to see? I'm gonna do a few more manga videos for you guys, and it's gonna be based on your feedback. If I don't get no feedback at all, I'll probably just go on to something else I think you guys might want to see. But if I get feedback and you guys tell me what kind of manga you like to see, then you'll definitely see more manga. Also, do you want to see it done in pencil like this on paper, or do you want to see it done like a manga studio? All right, let me know in the comments. I appreciate it. Thanks for watching.